your Christmas placemat. Hello, Barbara. Oh, they're coming up on here now. That's good. So there is this little placemat. Let's see. I'm hoping that I'm going to turn that correctly. And it's made with, hello, Beverly. Hope you're well. Made in that special way, but I bet some of you have forgotten already. So I'm going to show you it again. And with this time we're going to, so it's like we're going to make these and we're going to make 4 at a time. So this one needs 6 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, if you wanted to, if you didn't know this technique, which I'm going to show you, you could cut 4 different triangles and stitch them together. So you could put these 2 right sides together and stitch that seam, and then put these 2 right sides together and stitch that seam. Then you would press them, then you would put this bigger triangle on top of this one and stitch down here. In between time, you'll be pressing, and you could press them a little bit too much and they could distort, they could stretch as you're sewing. You never know, but this way makes it so easy. Oh, Barbara's been making a tabletopper using my method. Lovely. It is so easy. So just got a plain back. I haven't even quilted it. So you could quilt it if you wanted to as well. So that is what we're going to make. So I'll show you that first, and then I'll see if what I could also, if I've got some squares by me, I will show you. I made these dinky ones. Let's put it this way. So this was playing. Okay. So you can see these are quarter square triangles as well. So sometimes if we pop it that way, you've got your hourglass block because you've got 2 colours and it looks like an hourglass. So you can use this exact method I'm going to show you tonight by just using 2 colours. I'm using 8 different colours and I'm going to make 2 sets of 4 patches, right? This way you'll use 2 sets of 4 patches, but they will only be in the same 2 colours. So it was this red one and the ivory one, and that's the only 2 colours you use for your 2 sets of 4. So let's see if I can turn this around. And how are we going to do it? Hopefully we're going to do it like this. Oh, that was better. It's only taken me, I don't know how long, to find out, or you can see the pad there as well, to find out how to do it a little bit better than I was. Hello, Janet. Oh, I can even see comments coming up down there as well, which is really good. And you can also see all the mess around. So I've got 2 already made because as we need 6 for this, I've used a set of 4 and just 2. I've got 2 left over. So I'm going to make some more. Who was that? Let's just see. Tony. Hello, Tony. Oh dear. Right. There's my first 2. This is what we're going to make. So there may be some of you who are watching that haven't seen this before. So it will be a little bit of an eye opener. So what have we got? Oh, what we need is 1. These are the new fabrics which will be coming next week in Christmas in August. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's a little sneaky peek if you haven't seen them before. And then 5 and 6 and 7 and 8. There we go. So we've got 8 of those. And I am working with 4-inch squares, but you can use this technique for any number of squares we use. So these are lovely. These are the new Christmas fabrics. And actually, I think I have got another one. There was another one as well with snowmen on, but I'm not using that within this particular block. So I want to I'm using a 4 patch is 4 squares sewn together to make a bigger square. So let me just see what we will do. So you can put them wherever you like. You could use the same colours in both of them. But as I say, as I had got 8 different fabrics, I thought I'll use one of each because I need one 4 patch and another 4 patch. So I'm going to stitch those ones together in that order. And then I'm going to do this one in, perhaps we'll do that in that order. So I'm laying them on top there so that I can just pick them up. Let's just see. No, that isn't a good idea. So let me just take those off the top. I'll do those in just a minute. So these are the 4 I'm going to use. And actually, I might not do them that way. So I am going to stitch. I'm going to place the top one. This is my cobweb method. Or do I call it spider web method? Yes, the cobweb method. So I'm going to place this one on top of this one and line those edges up, and this one on top of this one, the bottom pair, and I'm going to stitch down here, down the right hand side, not going to cut the thread, and I'm going to carry on stitching down the next pair as well. So 1/4 inch seam allowance, 1.8 as my stitch length. You know that's my patchwork length. 1.8, 1.6, something along those lines. What is that getting on my foot pedal? Okay, and 1/4 inch seam allowance. So as I say, we'll stitch down here. Don't cut the thread, and then move your next pair with the aligned edges like that, and we'll stitch right down here. Okay, so when we take them, they're joined together. So what I do first of all, the bottom pair, I'm just going to open that up and I will nail press along here, and the seam has gone under this one. So with the top one, so that I get those seams going in the opposite directions, I actually flip this to the right before I open it out. And that means the seam is coming under this side. So having done that before doing any pressing, I'm going to then flip one over to the other. There's no chance of them being in the wrong place if there was a wrong place for it to be. I'm nesting that seam there in the middle and then lining that top edge here. So now I'm going to place that under here, under the needle, and we will stitch along here. And this other side, just pull that in line so that that lines up as well. Like so. So now we can cut the thread now. And there we have our 4 patch. And what we want to have, which we have, is a lovely intersection there where those points all come together. So I'm going to, what am I going to do? Press it in a moment. There is that one. I'm now going to make this second one. So we will have that one there. We'll have that one there. And that one there, and that one there. I'm putting it near the ironing board so it's ready to press all at once. So we'll do the same again. If you recall, we can put that one, the top right onto the top left, and the bottom right onto the bottom left. Just make sure they line up. Take that over to the machine, stitch down this edge, and don't cut the thread, but then we move the next one over, making sure they're aligned, and we'll stitch, carry on stitching all the way to the bottom. Okay, so then starting with the bottom one, just open that out and nail press. But with the top one, let's flip it to the other side before we open out and nail press. And that is going to make sure our seams are going in different directions. When we flip it over, you'll see there one seam going one way and one the other. So let's just press that. I can feel that nesting beautifully. If you would like to put a pin in there, by all means do. But I just keep my thumb and finger holding it together, as well as I'm just holding these edges here, and pop it down, just hold it down, and then we can carry on stitching across. And then we can also make sure that these raw edges down here, let's just pull that across and carry on stitching. Okay, so I've just put the iron on. Now we have our second one, and all we need to do now is to press that. So I have got my, let's just move that back a little bit more. So I've got my pressing mat here. So let's just pop that on the top, and what we will do is, let's see, let's just press that way. Oh, that's it, just press that. Make sure that's all nicely, oops, that's just slipping a little bit. There we are. So let's give that a nice press so that that is all beautifully pressed and square. So I'm just slowly moving over there, having pressed those seams. And then we'll get the second one in here. And again, because I didn't press those small seams, I'm just going to give those a press first. And then we can press this one here to one side. So just push that over and then flip it to the right side. I always give my patchwork a little press on the right side as well. So we have that, or we have the two of those sets ready to be placed right sides together. Now, let's see, I want different colours to be on different ones. Yeah, that looks good actually. So I'm going to pop these now right sides together, and you can see the creamy ones going on there, the red ones going on there. It doesn't matter where they go, but we're going to line those up, make sure all those edges, they should be exactly the same size. So let's just pop a pin in here, because we don't want them to move, and we want these outer edges, we want everything really to line up beautifully. So I can see that one is nicely lined. Place the pins away from the edge, because we don't want that the pins getting in the way. So let's just pull that there. Make sure that one lines up as well. And let's put a pin. And I mean, sometimes I don't put a pin there, but it is well worth the extra effort. And it's not really effort, but I feel it's effort putting a pin in. But it does help when you want them all to stay nicely aligned the whole way around the edge, because we are going to stitch the whole way around the edge. So starting in one corner, and whoops, my foot pedal has slipped out of the way. Let us keep those raw edges together, neatly aligned, and I'll stop just a quarter of an inch before the side, and we will go along this side as well. So we are working with squares, and we have no diagonal stretchy seams to deal with at this point. So everything is going to come out nice and ship-shape and straight, and it really is very straightforward. So when I come to the end here, I'm just going to stitch right off the end and cut my thread. So there I have 2 4 patches stitched together all the way around the outside. So let's bring in our cutting mat. There is my cutting mat. You can see those there. What would be a good idea to have would be a ruler and a rotary cutter. So I've got my ruler and my rotary cutter, and we're going to do a diagonal cut this way and a diagonal cut that way. So let us just line that up perfectly, point to point, and let's see, there we are. So I don't want those to move, because I'm now going to turn that around and I'm going to cut the other diagonal also. So let's see, I've covered my blade, as you see, because if I can prick myself with a pin, who knows what I can do with a rotary cutter and a blade. Whoops. Okay. Hello, Jane. Didn't see you there. Let's see. What size are the squares are 4 inches. Squares are 4 inches. Okay, 4 inches for the squares, but you can do it whatever size you like. The 4-inch squares have given me a 12 by, I think it was 9.5 inch, which I think is quite good for a placemat size. Okay, so where's my mat to come again now? So all we need to do, we have 4 pieces now, don't we? We have 4 pieces here, and all I am going to do, one piece at a time, you will have some little bits here, we just pull those off or trim those off, and we will press to set the seam, and then I'm going to lift this point and, oh, it's a little bit hot, there we are, let's turn it down a little bit. Whoops, now it's gone up, right. And I'm just going to press that seam open. Well, no, the seam's together, but there I have made a beautiful quarter square triangle. So again, set that seam and then pop the iron on, and I'm just going to run that along in this direction of the seam, and there we have another one which is different. Here we have another one to set the seam. Those little bits at the end here, this is where we've stitched into the corner, but we will trim those off. So let's pull that down. Oh, ow, burned myself. So there we have number 3. And here is number 4. Set that seam and set them or press them. There we go. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, all beautiful. So now I'm going to bring in my other 2 as well. And all I'm going to do is put them, well, no, I am going to trim off those little triangular points, because we don't need those, and you will get 2 on each. So so here we can trim that little bit off, just level, there we are, just level with the edge of the fabric of the square. So there's 1 there, 1, 2. So some of them where it's gone into the corner and you've got a little bit hanging on. So there's that 1 and 2. And those, oh no, I didn't do that one, did I? Right, just trim that little bit off, just so that they are square, rather than having the little dog ears. They're easier to match up. Okay, so all I'm going to do now, when I play these together, I'm going to try my hardest not to have 2 similar, no, that's a different one, So we could have that to there. Let's have a look. Let's have that one to there. And we could have that to there. And let's see what we can have here. Oh, that's fine, I think. So, okay, we have, because I've got 8 they will be, 8 colours. There will be, some that are similar next, or they're not. Nothing is exactly touching each other. So they're different. On the other one, I think I had got 2 the same together, but it really doesn't matter. So I think what I'm going to do exactly the same as I did before. Right sides together for the top one and the second one and the third row. So I'm going to stitch down here, not cut my thread, stitch down the next one, not, and then the third one as well. So I'm just going to pop this over to the side and take this pair here, align those edges like so, and we will stitch like we did before. So now we have got a stretchy edge there, so just allow, now you see I didn't cut my thread, just allow, can you see that stretches just a tiny bit? So just hold this carefully together, and that fits perfectly. I didn't cut my thread, and I'm just going to carry on stitching down the next edge. And can you see I'm leaving there's a little bit of excess there. There's not excess, the fabric lines up beautifully, but I'm allowing the machine to pull it through. I'm not stretching it. I'm just allowing those seams to be pulled through by the sewing machine. And that means they will, I'm just going to line that one up. They will be exactly the size they should be with no stretching whatsoever. Okay, and what you can do, pop your finger on there to hold it together. I think if you pin it, there is more likelihood that the edges could stretch. So now that I've got down on my third one, I'm going to cut the thread. So we'll do the same principle. The bottom one, we're just going to open out. And again, don't nail press too much because that is stretchy, but that one, the seam is going this way. This one, I'm going to flip this way first and pull it back to open it out and nail press there. And the top one, I leave, just like the bottom one, leave it like it was, open it out, nail press. There we are. So all of our pieces are in the right places. And we're now going to place these right sides together. And again, those edges or those seams will nest. I can see those. Feels a little bit. Where are we? There we are. Okay, so that's nesting. A little bit extra fabric in there. And then just line that up like that. And then we'll stitch across this top seam as well. Okay, so now, oh, that made me jump. So we do have a, yes, we have, I don't think you can see it from the thread, but there is an intersection of seams there so that we don't cut our points off. And let's see, I have got my thread cutter, my seam ripper. So what you can do with the point of your seam ripper is pop it into that point, lift this up so that you can see where that other point is of the triangles underneath, and pop it through there. And then I'm just holding that together like so. And as soon as we're close, I'm taking the seam ripper out and just holding that down. And then hopefully I'm going to have a really lovely intersection there. I wouldn't worry too much. The fabric sort of take away from any points that don't go exactly where they should do. But for a future project, it is something which looks quite easy. And now look at that. I have got a lovely point there. Okay, so we're going to do the same at the bottom here. We're going to flip that right sides together, and we can see that these seams need to nest, which they are. But again, you can see right there, there's where the seams intersect. So I'm going to put my seam ripper point there. But first of all, I'm going to line up at this edge and keep my finger on the seam. I'm just going to make sure that my fabric lines up along here. And then the closer I get, I've got my seams nested here. So I'm going to put my seam ripper into that point, lift this up, and where the point comes through, I'm not going to use it to rip anything. I'm going to put it into the point below, just below there on the other piece. Flap that back. And when we get really, really close, I'm going to take the seam ripper out and just hold that down. And I'm stitching just a needle's width to the right of that point. And then hopefully, as I'll show you, we should have a nice point here as well. Let's have a look. Oh, we do. That's just what we want. So that is how you can make yourself a lovely point. Right, let's go over here because now we just need to press these seams at the back. So we've only got these seams where we joined it together. So again, let's just press those. It doesn't really matter, whoops, which way they go. So if I stand up, there we go. They can go that way. Oh, this one wants to go this way as well. And then also what I'm going to do is actually press from the top. Oh, that needs to be opened out a little bit more. So I obviously didn't press that enough so that we get our lovely little point. There we are. Okay, so let's leave that iron on because what we're going to do now, we've got our top ready. What we need to do now is take our backing fabric. Okay, so I'm just going to give that a press so that that is nice and smooth. And we also need our piece of wadding. So the size at present is, let's see, it's 14 inches by 9.5. The wadding is 14 inches by 9.5. And I want this to have an inch of the backing fabric all the way around. So if you can smooth your fabric on there or your wadding, and then, so 14 by 9.5, which is the same, hopefully, as this, which that is. So 14 by 9.5, and there we go. That's lovely. What I could actually do, just to make this hold or stay in place, we can put some pins, or you can use the fabric spray adhesive 505. Either that or pins. I used 505 spray actually before, but I'm just putting some pins to hold that all together before we do the next step. Now, if you had one of my amazing mitre rulers, you will love to use that. I haven't got one of mine free at the minute because I haven't got any more stock of those. So all I'm doing is ironing the edge. Let's put this over here now. The edge of this backing fabric to meet, the raw edge meets the edge of the wadding and our topper. So we need to press that all the way along. Even at the end, you don't need to open that out, just give that a press. There we go, nice and hot. And let's move this around a bit more so that we can do this end as well. So press that so the raw edge meets the edge here, and then run the iron. Now, a little mini iron is really good for doing this stage. As it is, I'm using a large iron, and it's a little bit big for, it's like cracking a hazelnut with a sledgehammer. But hey ho, we're getting it done. So let's just give that, so move that along, and I'm going to pull this up just a little bit. There we are. So we've got some pressing mat underneath, and there we are. So I've pressed all the edge, and I'm going to take this out of the way now. So we are going to work with the, you see these edges? I folded them so the raw edge meets the edge of our table mat. Right, so now I am going to turn up my stitch length. I'm going to turn it up to a 3, and I am going to move this fold the folded edge over onto our patchwork. So if you want to pop yourself binding clips along here, you can. If you don't want to, you can just stitch along. Let's put another one here. You can put them the whole way round to begin with, or just, as I say, do it as you go along. So my usual is to do it as I go along. So I'm just using, you can use a walking foot, but I do find it more difficult to get a 1/4 inch seam, or with my 1/4 inch foot, I can line up the inside of the foot with the edge of the fabric. Now, also, if you do have one of these machines and you've got one of these narrow foots, it is lovely to use those. At least the project doesn't ricochet off the floor. True, that is true, Joy. So I'm using my normal foot, which is probably what you would be using as well. So just to try and keep a lovely straight edge as we go around, I'm looking at the edge of this folded edge here, lining up with the inside of my folded back. So let's start, and I don't start on a corner. I usually start some way down the side, and probably I would use a coordinating thread. This is a nice dark red, but I'm actually using a cream thread. So when we get close to this end, if you have an amazing miter tool, you can do it in the normal way. You'd have opened it by now. But if not, what I do is I open that next edge up, and then I refold the edge that I'm stitching so that this edge is unfolded. And I then often use my seam ripper. I put the side of it down there while I fold back a little triangle. So can you see? And if you want to crease that, you can. So I folded back that to a triangle. Then I will fold or refold this back in, and then with my seam ripper down there, I'm going to lift that up and let that reach the side that I'm stitching at the minute, and I'm going to put my seam ripper exactly in there so that I get a beautiful miter there. So I'm using my seam ripper. You could use an awl or anything pointy just to hold that down, and do one stitch into the next edge so that now you're ready to go again. So then I'll carry on stitching down this side. I'm pulling the edge. I need a new needle because I keep jumping a stitch, which is not good. So I'm quite near to the other side. So again, open that next edge that we'll be stitching, refold the edge we are still stitching, fold over the triangle just there, refold the next edge like that, and then bring that up to the edge that we are stitching. And like I say, I try and get the point of the seam ripper in to just hold those bits together to give me that lovely mitre there. And I'm just looking, and I'm in. So once your needle goes into this next edge, you can pivot and move on to that next edge that we're going along here. I don't know how perfect this is going to be, but there we go. So I'm keeping, oh, there's a bit of thread there, or a little bit of fray, so let's just pull that over. And you can see I'm keeping my fingers holding the binding down so that I don't get any ruffles along there as well, which you wouldn't get if you were using a walking foot. So I'm approaching this end again. So let's undo, refold. Let's put that there. And then I like to hold my seam ripper down so that when I form my triangle, it comes right against that edge. Then refold, the edge will be on next. And then fold the whole of it up to meet. It's hard, I've got my fingers in the way, to meet the side we're stitching, and place the seam ripper tip into, there we are, we're in. And so it's in the next side, so it means I can start stitching again. So we've got one more corner to do. So once we get here, so I'm watching my foot, doesn't look too bad. I wouldn't say perfect, but let's open this next side out, refold. So let's just smooth that down, fold ourselves a triangle towards the next side that we'll be stitching, and then refold the next side, and then bring that up to meet the side that we're just going to finish off, and pop your, oh, I haven't caught that bit there. That's it. Pop the seam ripper in there. You want to hold it on top so that you're getting that nice, yeah. Whoops, my fingers are completely covering it now. I'm trying to hold down that edge. There we are. And just make sure you don't stitch into your seam ripper. But once you've gone into that mitre, it's just holding it in place, ready to just finish off. And when I'm getting to where I have started, I'm trying to do a stitch directly over the previous ones. So let's have a look. Snip that off, snip the piece on the back, and this is where on the back it would be nicer to have a red that I've used for the binding. Let's just take those pins out. Oh, I've got one more in there. And did I have another one? Let's just, but you see it's nice and neat on the back as well. Get those little bits off, no more pins in there. And there it is, done just like that. Okay, so let's have a look. Because I haven't been able to see any comments. Whoops, we are here. We are still here. I'll have a look to see. Yeah, you could extend it to be a table runner. Absolutely, Jan. Whoops, what's going on? Oh, that was me, yes. Will it be a kit? Wasn't going to be, Tony, but I could do. The thing with it, the fabrics that I shall be offering you next week in Christmas in August will give you ample fabric to be able to use it. It's only a case of cutting squares, but can do. I'll see what I can do. But as I say, I wasn't intending to, because it's only a case of cutting 4-inch squares to begin with. But if you like squares, then absolutely fine. And whether you want to make placemats or whether you want to make a table runner to go with it, the fabric that I do them in, there'll be plenty for you to choose whichever way you would like. Let's see. Thank you. My magic, says Heather. Right, okay. Could extend it, as Jan was saying. Oh, yes, missed that bit whilst we were doing it. So, thank you, Jeeta, and thank you, Wendy, and Sue. Oh, blimey, I'm just, you've got your grandson stopping all week. Mine have been this week and not next week. So, although I've got them a few days and a bit of school shopping as you do. Thank you, Sandra. And thank you, Marion. Oh, yes, I didn't say, I did use Thermolam. Yes. Thinking about future washing, and that would be good fleece to use. Yes. I love using Thermolam for anything I want to be flat. I use Thermolam. And that's got, it is lovely and flat. Now I say, if you want to quilt it, by all means do. It will then hold the backing together really, really well to the fabrics. And you've got nice lines to be able to do. I would just do cross hatching. I would go down these seams on both sides and around and down. It would be really, really quite straightforward. Whether it be placemats or, there we are. So they're both different, but it just depends where you place your quarter square triangles. But it looks harder than it is. Okay. Yes, you must give it a go. And as you say, Amanda, practice makes perfect. It really does. Thank you, Nikki. I will enjoy my fish and chips. I've got 2 or 3, whoops, wrong one, 2 or 3 minutes and we shall be fine. And yeah, it would be lovely for Christmas. And I mean, Christmas presents as well. But it's a good size. Doesn't take too much fabric. It's a nice, you could do one a day, because for making one, you would need to do 2 sets of what I did tonight, because each set of 2 4 patches gives you 4 of these, and I've got 6. So that was why I'd got 2 left over from my previous one. So if you did 2, if you're making 2 placemats, you'll need 3 sets of 4 patches to make your quarter square triangles, because you've got 12 blocks in there. So just doing 3 sets of them. So, jolly good, jolly good. How many squares? Depends how long you want your table runner to be, Jeeta. So these are 14 inches long. So that is 28. Could be a 28-inch long one. Okay. Or if you wanted to be 42, you'd have 3 of these, and 3 together would be 42. So you would need 18 quarter square triangles, which means you would need 5 lots of the 4 patches. Okay. Yeah, nice and straightforward. A nice finish, and not too much to have to think about. And making those 4 patches is lovely. Love doing that. Lovely. So, oh goodness, lovely. Party. So thank you everybody for joining me. What I may do over the weekend, although I'm not intending to be doing any working, I might do a little video to show you. I'll just turn that around again. What I showed you at the beginning, how to, it is quite straightforward, but it's always nice to see a demonstration, isn't it? How to make just 2 colour ones. And, oh, no, I haven't got one there with me. So how to make just 2 colour ones to get your hourglass, which is also a nice way of making quick quarter square triangles and hourglass blocks. Okay, let's switch that around, and I will just thank you for joining me tonight. I will wish you a lovely evening and a fantastic bank holiday weekend. Hope you're doing lots and enjoy yourself doing it. And I may very well appear, not probably as a live, but I might do a little video now and again because I just love doing it. And there's so many things I want to bring to you. There's always not enough time when I want to do it. So this weekend, I might just do some more little videos to go on YouTube, just to give you something else to give a go at. So take care, have a lovely evening, and I will see you next week. Bye for now.